idea pretty random? Yes, but is that a risk I'm willing to take? Hey guys, my name is Nicole and welcome to NicoleTopics, and today's topic is a mix of art but also dance. So for the past few weeks, I've been planning to do some kind of glow up / redecorating of my room. And you know, to me at least, I feel like a big important factor to have in your room is to make sure that it showcases your likes, your personality, and basically just your interests. I've seen a lot of dancers hang up their first ballet slippers on their vanity, but I honestly do not have my first ballet slippers. And while that is pretty sad, something I have seen lots of people do before is paint their old pointe shoes and put that somewhere around their room. Now, I don't really know where I'll put mine, but I'm pretty sure I'll figure that out once I begin to really redecorate. But as you guys know, I just began ballet almost a year ago, so I didn't really start pointe yet. But luckily Amazon sells some cheap ballet slippers, which happen to be the ones I'm holding right on my hands right here. Now, disclaimer, unless you're planning to like decorate these and hold them up somewhere in your room, I wouldn't really recommend to buy these for dancing, especially if you haven't taken any classes nor have enough pointe experience, because based on what I have heard from other dancers on YouTube before, dancing on these can be pretty dangerous if you do not know what you're doing. I'm not gonna go into more detail on that because I honestly myself is still learning. But yeah, if you're planning to decorate, then these are your best go. Better than spending like $100 for a pair. But as for dancing, the best advice I could give you guys is to ask your dance teacher before spending. But yeah, all over YouTube I've seen dancers paint their old pointe shoes with like beautiful designs like a gradient or a starry sky. And if I gotta be honest here, I do not have that kind of talent, but something I haven't seen and something I just began to experiment and pretty obsessed with right now as of a few days ago is watercolor, but without watercolor paint. That's right, you guys have heard me correctly. Lately I've been pretty obsessed with making watercolor backgrounds, something like this, or maybe something like this, without actually using watercolor paint. So I honestly do not know if what I'm visualizing in my head would turn out as good as in real life, but I'm willing to take the risk, and if I have time and remember, then I might add some glam to it as well, but that's minor details. Let's focus on the big details first. So yeah, let's start the process, shall we?
I will use in this video is a magazine to prevent any mishaps, a perfume bottle filled with water, ZzimzZ liquid highlighters, and a long sheet of plastic, which is actually a hefty gallon-sized bag that was cut precisely. Before I begin doing any sort of crafting with my first shoe, I made sure anything inside it was taken out first. I began to prep my work and just picked out some colors and began to scribble them down on a piece of plastic. For my first shoe, I really wanted to go for something I haven't really done before, so I decided to do some sort of orange watercolor background. The colors I used was orange, yellow, and pink, and honestly, they blended really nicely together. Once I finished coloring, I then used my perfume bottle and sprayed on the plastic sheet. Once I did that, I then carried that sheet and put it on the pointe shoe. Once it was on the pointe shoe, I started to like gently spread out the color so that way it can blend together a little bit more better. Of course, you do not want to have your plastic too watery. You want to dry it off a little bit once in a while because one, it can damage the watercolor effect, and two, it can even damage the highlighter. And yeah, this is a process I repeated so many times throughout the few hours that I worked on this project. I learned from this project and can be even helpful to anyone who wants to try this in the future, that you do not want to add too much layers. The reason why I'm saying this is because sometimes when we work on something, we may forget that not everything is going to be paper. So the effects might be different. If you add too much layers on your point shoe, since it's not paper, the colors that were already on there are eventually gonna wash off. Also, another thing I'm gonna suggest right now is before you even begin any kind of coloring, I highly suggest that you cover the soles with something, whether it's washi tape like I'm using, or just something that does the job good in general. Now, you don't have to do this unless you want your soles colored too, but in this case, I do not want my soles to have color, so that's why I'm covering them. After doing that, I shortly turned my camera off for a while to give it a break as I continue to finish doing the job. As you guys can see, what I am doing here is doing some last minute touches so that way the final product will look as colorful as it possibly can be. With the point shoe a little bit wet, I use that to my advantage to rub the colors to make it mix together a little bit more. I don't really recommend doing this for the most part, but if you're doing this just for tiny little touches, then this is a pretty good strategy. Now I'm just filling in any remaining blank spaces with my orange highlighter that's mostly near the sole. And yeah, here is what I got done so far. After finishing that, I laid my orange point shoe on a blank sheet of my sketchbook paper for it to dry in the corner while I turned to a new page in my magazine to start working on the other shoe. For this shoe, I wanted to go for the same kind of color scheme that I used on a previous background in my sketchbook, which was purple, blue, and pink. This is definitely my favorite color combination. As you guys will find out later, I decided to go ahead more to this theme and make it more of this aesthetic space theme, and I'm just so proud of this one. Of course, I almost forgot to cover the soles, but luckily when I found out about this, it wasn't too late into the game. So here is what the orange point shoe looked like in the next morning, all dried up. I let each point shoe dry overnight on a new magazine page. Last editing touch I want to do with my orange point shoe was to write some cliche, simple aesthetic quote on it, which was "Be you." And then after that, I used my Ohuhu markers to also put more of a space theme on my second point shoe. I even used a white gel pen to add some stars. Now it was time for me to remove all of the washi tape off of the soles. And yeah, here is a more specific view on the final products. Honestly, they both could have been better, but they're actually not that bad considering this is my first time doing something like this to point shoes. I mean, I've never even dyed a point shoe before, so this is definitely a step right out of my comfort zone, and yeah, I have no regrets. Honestly, I literally forgot to make an outro, so here is this right now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Cheerio.